on, boxing fans? You're watching Saved by the Bell podcast with my co-host, Dark Side of the Moon. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Fatal Fury, April 26th, one of the biggest showdowns we've got coming up in British boxing in recent years. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about the recap of the weekend. We're going to talk about Gabriela Fundora defending her titles against Marilyn Amaya. We're going to talk about Dalton Smith beating Mathieu Germain, a little bit of Josh Padley. And am I missing anything? I don't think so. No, and we're going to talk about Ben Whittaker and that card there. There we go. There's so much going on. There's too much events, too many events happening. We're getting a bit confused. All right, let's dive straight into it. I say we get straight into the Saturday's events. Let's talk about Dalton Smith for a second. Yeah. What do you reckon? Were you impressed by the performance from Dalton Smith?
Yeah and no.
Yeah, same as me. Yeah and no. Do you know what? If we're going to talk about European level, British level, yeah, I'm impressed, very impressed. If we're going to talk about world level, elite level, there's some things that need to get sharpened up, you know what I mean? There's some things that need to get worked on. One thing that did come to my mind was the constant head hunting from Dalton Smith. It's okay to head hunt, but throw some body shots as well. I think even the commentary was saying, hey, throw some body shots. Like, you know what I mean? It's open. Mathieu Germain is open for body shots. And he could have got easy, naughty body shots in there. But I guess when you're in the spur of the moment and you're going for the kill, you get me? The only thing you see is the head. You don't even think about the body. So maybe it was one of those things there. And maybe setting up your punches. I've noticed that Dalton Smith does not tend to set up punches. He normally throws maybe a one jab and then goes straight for the kill. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Or he goes for the kill straight away without even warming up, if that makes sense. So maybe those two things he can work on is throw some shots to the body as well. You know what I mean? I understand head hunting is good, but throw some body shots as well. And we want to see you set up shots. You know what I mean? Make the opponents fall into the trap.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see from Dalton Smith. But overall, I am pretty impressed. We saw what happened in the last round. Dalton Smith was going for the kill. He wanted to get a knockout victory, but ultimately Mathieu Germain was on a track. You saying, "Bro, he said, nah, fuck that, bro. You're not knocking me out." You know what I mean? You can take the victory, but I'm not getting knocked out. So, anyways, pretty impressive. I'm sure there was about 3 knockdowns. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed by Dalton Smith. Does this performance take him to world level? Does this performance get him a title shot? I say maybe 1 or 2 more fights, maximum. Sharpen up your tools and then you're ready for world level. But anyways, that's enough of me waffling. I want to hear your take on this and let's move on.
Yeah, man. Overall, I did think it was a good performance. You look at everything throughout the fight. I think, like you said, the one major negative was I think he only really started going to the body from round 6. And I think in round 7, you could really see that those body shots were starting to open up his guard and he was landing more shots to the head as a result of going to the body. And that's why everyone says in boxing, man, it's so important to invest in the body because it helps bring the guard down of the opposing fighter. So that was important. 3 knockdowns in the fight. Didn't get the stoppage like he wanted, but it was a very convincing performance. I mean, it wasn't really a case of you got to the end of the fight and people were saying, oh, I wonder who won the fight. I mean, it was a dominant performance. But I just think 2 things for me. The body shots are super important, man, especially when you go to the world level. You're going to need to use those body shots to score points, even if you're not using it to open up the guard, because there are a lot of fighters in that division who are technically sound and also hold power. So they're going to go to the body a lot. The other thing I think for Dalton Smith is I'd like to see him up his activity. Feel like his activity is a little bit low. Like, I understand you're more of a thinking fighter and you want to place your shots and think about what you want to do, but sometimes you can be a top level fighter but fight someone who just fights with more activity and you can lose. So I think he needs to up his activity and work on going to the body. Do I think that was a valiant performance for world level? Absolutely not. I think if he was fighting someone within the top 5 world level fighters, I think he would really struggle with a performance like that. I do agree with you. I think he's at least 2 fights from world level before he fights for a world title. And they are talking about potentially putting him in for a world title shot next. Now, to me, that's just crazy. I think that's just crazy. I think Dalton Smith is a talented fighter, but he's inexperienced and he has a lot that he needs to work on. So take your time and maybe one day he'll become a world champion.
Most definitely, man. There's no rushing to this thing, man. You got to take your time and enjoy the process and learn as you go along the way. You know what I mean? Anyway, speaking of learning as you go along the way, let's talk about Gabriela Fundora, the undisputed flyweight queen. I mean, there's not much to say on this fight. We spoke about this before briefly, and we knew exactly what it was going to be. Gabriela Fundora, her skill sets were too much. Her reach was too much. Her height was too much. She was too fast, and she was too strong for Marilyn Amaya. That's a perfect recipe for success for a fighter. Do you know what I mean? I mean, 5'9" going up against 5'3". Come on, man. Do you know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. Marilyn Amaya, you know, she was slipping. She was slipping the shots, parrying shots. She was moving. You know what I mean? Rotating. She was doing good until the round started going on, and the pressure just kept on piling and piling, and it came to a point where it was too much. She was just getting hit with clean shots all night long. I mean, the fight didn't even go the full distance, but for the amount of time that the fight was going on, she kept getting hit clean. Jabs, crosses, uppercuts, hooks. I think I saw every single punch that Gabriela Fundora threw at Marilyn, and it landed pretty decently and pretty nicely. Do you know what I mean? Body shots, head shots. Listen, for you to beat someone like a Gabriela Fundora, you need to have excellent footwork. You need to be in and out. You need to be making the opponent miss, setting up traps, because they have the ultimate advantage, which is what? Height and reach. Now you need to, and power. Now you need to close the gap and time the gap. And you know what I mean? But Marilyn Amaya did not have the skill sets. Her footwork was not great. And ultimately, she paid the price. You saw what happened in round 7. She got plummeled. She got mashed up. You get me? And then when she rose up, she looked at the referee. I don't think at first the referee noticed, but she looked at the referee and she was like, fuck that.
I don't want more.
She looked at the referee. Yeah, she goes, nah, I'm good. The referee, I don't think the referee understood what she was trying to say at first, because he kept on counting. And she kept looking at him saying, what the fuck are you doing? I was saying, nah, man, I don't want to smoke. And then the referee said, you know what? Fuck it. We're calling it off. And Gabriela Fundora remains undefeated. And she remains the undisputed flyweight queen. Listen, for women's boxing, it's a big step up. This was the first time Gabriela Fundora headlined the show. So we got to give her credit. We got to give her credit for the performance. But I don't see nobody beating her in that division.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody in that division that can beat her. So ultimately, she has to move up.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion on that fight there. I want to hear your opinion, and then we can move on from there as well.
Yeah, man. I thought good performance, kind of what I expected, to be honest. On the other hand, for the other girl, I mean, I think it was more or less a matter of time. When did she get stopped, rather than does she get stopped? I think you and I both knew there was going to be a stoppage at some point. I mean, when you've got the range, you've got the height, you've got the technical ability, and you've got power. That's a good match, it's a good mix of skills, to be able to get your opponent out of there. And we said it before, I don't think there's anyone in that division who's going to cause her any problems. So probably best for her if she can manage to add a few pounds, go up in weight class and see what you could do there, man, because she's clearly the undisputed king in that division, and no one's going to really trouble her unless it's like a really lucky punch that happens to knock her out. I don't see her getting beaten by anybody. So fair play to Gabriela Fundora. Fair play to the other girl for taking the fight. She probably knew what she was up against, going up against an undisputed champion. And we'll have to wait and see what the future holds.
Most definitely, man. All right, cool. Speaking of what the future holds, let's talk about Josh Padley. You know what? Big up to Josh Padley. I did mention to you, we're going to see what he's made of. We're going to see what Josh Padley is made of, because now he is a full-time professional boxer. He's
Yeah.
no longer working 9 to 5 and then going to the gym for an hour or two. No, no, no. Riyadh season changed his life. Shakur Stevenson fight changed his life. Now he is a full-time professional boxer. And you know what? We saw the difference. We have
Yeah.
seen the difference. I think this is one of his most dominating performances in his entire career. You know what I mean? This is one of his most dominant performance in his entire career. Big up to Josh Padley. He's hungry. He's hungry. He wants it. You saw him. He came out guns blazing, body shots, headshots. His opponent couldn't handle with it. Oh man, it was beautiful to watch. Not because of a fan and to see an opponent get mashed up, but also the story behind Josh Padley. You know what I mean? It just gives it that little extra spark. Josh Padley, does he become world champion? Fuck knows. Is he gonna be a good level fighter? Yes.
Yeah.
But the future is yet to be known. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We're gonna stick behind Josh Padley. And we're hoping and praying for the best. But so far, so good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a full-time professional boxer. He can focus his mindset fully on the task ahead, on the task at hand, shall I say? And yeah, man, we want to see more of Josh Padley, and we are going to see more of Josh Padley. So big up to Josh Padley. Let me hear your thoughts on, well, Josh Padley.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, similar kind of thoughts, man. I mean, it all goes back to the Shakur Stevenson fight. He gave a great account of himself in the Shakur Stevenson fight. And I think that's what's given him this platform to build off. I think he's also got a lot of support from that as well, because most boxing fans know that fighting Shakur Stevenson is probably one of the hardest nights in boxing in any weight division. So it's a massive statement for him to come out of there with some props, and those props got him this fight. This fight, full training camp, like you said, he really put on a good show. He got the stoppage. He's looking good. Is he going to become a world champion, like you said? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But so far, he's showing that he's worthy of being in that boxing ring. And as boxing fans, that's all we can ask for. Just give your all, perform to your best ability, and we'll see where you go in the future. But big up Josh Padley, humble beginnings, coming from, I swear he was an electrician or something like that before. And then from that to full-time boxing. And I'm sure he's going to be making a lot more money in boxing now than what he would have been making as an electrician. So big up Josh Padley, on to bigger and better things.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. All right, cool. Let's move on to Sunday's event. Now, normally we don't really get boxing events on a Sunday, but it was Easter Sunday. Today's Bank Holiday Monday, so it kind of makes sense why there was an event on Easter Sunday. And most importantly, obviously, there was an event on Saturday. So, you know, they got to separate the timing, you know what I mean? Because all eyes have to be focused on this event here. So we had the main event attraction, Ben Whittaker versus Liam Cameron in the rematch. But before we get into that, we want to talk a little bit briefly on the undercard. Let's start with Tyler Denny versus Elvis Ahoga, aka the Soldier, aka the Black Terminator, the Black Schwarzenegger. You know what I mean? The Predator. Fuck, you know. Hey, listen, this guy's hilarious. This guy is a laugh. He's an entertainer.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch this fight for the skill set. I only watched the fight just because it was a Soldier. I'll be honest with you. I didn't watch the fight for the skill set. I already knew what was going to happen. I knew Tyler Denny was going to be too much for him. And I made a joke prediction. I said, yeah, I want the Soldier to knock out Tyler Denny. Yeah, because it would be so funny to watch him knock him out. But that's the prediction I made. But I only made that prediction as a joke. You know what I mean? Because I'm with the last with the Soldier. But listen, the Soldier, we know what it is. He's a good talker. You know, he's an entertainer. He's a funny guy. But is he a good boxer? No, he's not. Is he going to become world champion? No, he's not. Is he going to be a high-level fighter? No, he's not. The best option for the Soldier is he can become a very, very good Misfits fighter. I can see the Soldier on the Misfits cards and do very well and make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just look at Anthony Taylor. They've got similar personalities, but
Yeah.
Anthony Taylor has probably made more money than professional boxers, certain professional boxers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So why not? The Soldier, I think he needs to realize that I'm not good enough to be a professional boxer, but I am good enough to be a Misfits boxer.
Yeah.
And remember, Misfits, they got pro leagues as well. So do you know what I mean? This is a good. This is not the end of the soldier. He can go to Misfits. Do you know what I mean? This is not the end. As for Tyler Denny, I'm impressed by his performance.
Yeah.
He made it look pretty easy. He made it look dominant, and he looked like he was in control and having a laugh. I mean, you saw them back and forth. They were doing a little dancing in the ring. There was like they were screaming in the ring. You saw them. They was having a laugh. But ultimately, Tyler Denny is your winner. I want to hear your thoughts on Tyler Denny and a little bit on the soldier.
Yeah. Thoughts on this fight? I'll start with Tyler Denny. I thought it was a very, very good performance from Tyler Denny. I mean, he's had some losses recently. I forget who it was against, but I know
Hamza Shiraz.
Oh yeah, Hamza Shiraz. Thank you for that. And he needed to bounce back, and he's done exactly that. He put on a fantastic boxing performance on the back foot, and I feel like on the side of Elvis, let's say, but I feel like his performance was nowhere near as good as what we saw against Callum Simpson. I feel like the style of Tyler Denny made it look like the soldier was not as good as he was. Whereas Callum Simpson, the style of fighter he is, gave more openings, gave more engagement opportunities and stuff, which made the soldier look better than he was. Fair play to the guy. I got nothing against him. I wish him all the best. Like you said, is he going to become a world champion? Hell no, he's not. But even if he wasn't a Misfits fight, although I think that would probably be better for him because it's much easier to make large amounts of money there, he can still be a somewhat of a journeyman in boxing. He's good enough for that. Do you know what I mean? Like a test for the lower level guys coming through. I think Tyler Denny's had a fair amount of fights now, so maybe he's sort of surpassed that level. But it's a good fight anyway. I enjoyed it, and I'd like to see, both guys back in action at some point.
Yeah, most definitely, man. We want to see the soldier back in action. Do you know what I mean? All right, cool. Let's talk about Frazer Clarke against Ebenezer Tete. Wow. There's not much to say. The fight only lasted one round.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say one thing. Where the fuck did they get this Ebenezer Tete from? I mean, they say he's 36. He don't look fucking 36. He look like he's fucking 50 plus, bro. No disrespect, but no disrespect, but I think someone's lying on their passport, bro. Yeah, I mean, he's not no 36, bro. He fucking looks old. You know what I mean? He looks fucking old, and he looks his age in the ring. He's fucking slow as fuck. He don't look like no 36-year-old. You know what I mean? Fucking hell. Anyways, let's quickly and swiftly move on to the performance. I mean, there's not much to talk about, is it? We knew what was going to happen. We knew this was the outcome of the fight, but what we didn't know was how quick it was going to be. Do you know what I mean? Now, after the knockout loss to Fabio Wardley, we want to see where Frazer Clarke's head was at. Was he going to take his time in the ring, build up his confidence, or was he going to go in for the kill? That was the unknown. That was the question that was on everybody's mind, and it got answered fairly shortly in the ring. One round. I mean, you know what? Yeah. This Ebenezer Tete guy, I don't know if he's even a real professional boxer. I mean, some of the punches that he was throwing, I was like, what the fuck's this guy doing? Like, did you see that some of the uppercuts he was throwing?
Yeah.
They were wild. Like I've seen amateurs perform better in amateur clubs than this performance that was from Ebenezer Tete. I know it was only one round, but I saw enough from that one round to say, yeah, this guy, it's not the one. But anyways, we saw Frazer Clarke land a beautiful left hook. I think it was a check left hook, which wobbled him, and then the right cross that literally just plummeled him, and that's it. It was all over. Some people are saying the stoppage was premature, but ultimately, listen, guys, there was no point even letting the fight last any longer because this is exactly how the fight was going to end. Do you know what I mean? There was nothing that Ebenezer Tete could do to Frazer Clarke in this fight for Frazer Clarke to be remotely phased. So ultimately, it might have been a premature stoppage, but it was the right stoppage because if the fight continued, it would have been the same outcome. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so big up to Frazer Clarke. He's back in action. He's back. And what a way to come back after a performance like that. Damn. We've got to give him credit. He's talking about he wants to fight the winner of the David Adelaide and Jamie TKV. So that will be an interesting fight. But ultimately, you let me know. I want to hear your thoughts on the Frazer Clarke performance and What's next for him?
Well, there wasn't much to judge really because we didn't have much time to really judge his boxing as such. But I think most people would be somewhat a little bit surprised, although at the same time expecting him to get the win by stoppage, because we can now go back to the fight between Ebenezer Tete and Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte hit him with some sledgehammers and he didn't go down. Now people in the comments are saying this is not looking good for Dillian Whyte because Fraser Clark's come out and obliterated him in one round. You know what I mean? So as far as the performance, it's always a good performance if you get the victory by stoppage. So fair play to Fraser Clark. Good victory for him. On the other hand, and what people are talking about, was it a soft stoppage? I looked at the replay and I watched it back a few times. Fraser Clark did land some severely heavy shots on Ebenezer Tete after he had that first knockdown. But what I would say is the referee probably could have let it go a little bit longer and waited to see him really get stunned with something, because right at the end of that, when the referee called it off, he was pretty much holding on to Fraser Clark. But he wasn't holding on for dear life. He was just holding on because he knows, well, I'm in a bit of trouble here. I better hold on for a bit. So that's why at the end of the fight, Ebenezer Tete was not happy. A lot of people very unhappy about that. So I can understand the disappointment. But at the end of the day, I think most people thought, it's eventually going to end with a Fraser Clark stoppage or a unanimous points decision, one of the two. So congratulations to Fraser Clark, and for Ebenezer Tete. I mean, where does he go from here? I mean, I don't know, to be honest. But I guess he's going to be that guy that they call up if they need just a stand-in fight for someone that they just want a quick one.
Yeah, I think that's the last time we're going to see Ebenezer Tete on a British television screen in a long time, or if not, fuck knows if we're going to see him again. Anyways, let's quickly and swiftly move on to the co-main event. We had Lee Cutler versus Sam Eggington. Now, I did say before the fight, I did say in the last episode, this is a career-ending fight for someone. This is a career-ending fight for Sam Eggington if he loses, because I think he already has 9 losses on his resume. Another loss is not a good look, do you know what I mean? So he had to fight for his dear life. I did say if Sam Eggington wants to win this fight, he has to be letting those hands fly. Don't be gun shy. Be confident. Believe in your abilities and let your hands fly. Do you know what I mean? Don't be timid, because every single fight that he's lost, it was always because he was gun shy and he was timid.
Yeah.
And he didn't look confident in his abilities. So I guess tonight was a different performance. I guess he knew what was on stake. I guess he knew the kind of pressure that he was in. And you know what? It was a good fight, back and forth, you know what I mean? It was close at times. But then I thought, you know what? Sam Eggington wants it more. Sam Eggington was just edging the fight just an inch extra than Lee Cutler. Maybe Lee Cutler underestimated Sam Eggington.
Yeah.
Maybe that might have been the scenario, you know what I mean? Maybe Lee Cutler thought, yeah, you know what, Sam Eggington is on his way out. Yeah, I'll deal with him. But ultimately, you can never write off a fighter. That is your ultimate biggest mistake if you write off someone. Now, I don't know if that was the case, but it looked like the case. But who knows what it was behind the scenes? Anyway, Sam Eggington, we gotta give him some props. He's a tough bastard, you know what I mean? He's a tough guy. He'll take a loss, he'll come back. He'll take a loss, he'll come back, and he keeps on performing in the ring. Do you know what I mean? So big up to Sam Eggington. Ultimately, he got into boxing to provide for his family.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. What's next for Lee Cutler? Fuck knows. What's next for Sam Eggington? Does he go and get a big payday fight, or is he just gonna retire and call it a day? Who knows what it is? But anyways, I want to hear your thoughts on Sam Eggington and what you thought of the performance from Sam Eggington.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good performance from Sam Eggington. I mean, Lee Cutler, he did his best, but I think the difference here is he's probably not fought anyone like a Sam Eggington. Eggington, yes, he does have quite a lot of losses on his career record, but he is a warrior. The guy is a total and utter warrior. Like, he's been in so many wars. We always ask ourselves, like, how many more wars can this guy get involved in? Do you know what I mean? And every time he goes in there, he always shows his best. He gives his best performance. And that's all you can ask for, really. That's all you can ask for. If you're if you're, you know, at a point in your career where you kind of know that you're not going to get a world title shot, but at the same time, you're thinking to yourself, like, okay, I'm not going to get a world title shot. I'm probably not going to become world champion. What else can I do? Well, what you can do in the meantime is just stay busy, keep active, and maybe another opportunity will present itself. But as far as Sam Eggington goes, congratulations to him. I'll just speak briefly about the fact for those who didn't watch the fight actually ended early on a cut. They stopped the fight on the cut, and then they went to the scorecards, and Sam Eggington won on the scorecards. I think we could see a rematch. I mean, it could happen. You know, no one wants to win because, oh, it was because of a cut, or lose because, oh, someone got cut. So maybe a rematch for the two guys. I don't see where else they would really go, to be honest. But congratulations to Sam Eggington.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. All right, cool. Let's quickly and swiftly move on to the main event card. The main event fight. We had Ben Whittaker versus Liam Cameron in the rematch. And this one didn't last long also. Round 2 stoppage for Ben Whittaker. Do you know what? To be fair, Liam Cameron was doing okay-ish. He was doing okay-ish until he got hit with that right hand from Whittaker. He was doing fairly okay, you know what I mean? I mean, it was back and forth. Ultimately, Ben Whittaker was always one step ahead in this fight, but Liam Cameron was doing okay. You know what I mean? He was throwing a few good shots back, but ultimately the person that was landing more shots was Ben Whittaker. The person that was having a better performance on the night was Ben Whittaker, and ultimately Ben Whittaker got the stoppage victory. This is the Ben Whittaker that we know. This is the Ben Whittaker that me and you know. We know that this is what he's capable of, and he's proved it tonight. He said, you know what? Fuck this, bro. You lot have been taking the piss out of me all this time, calling me Ben Whittaker, calling me this, calling me that, blah, blah, blah. And I just went and demolished. I want to say demolished, but I'll say I just went and finished your boy Cameron. How about that? And you saw from the celebration after the fight, you saw how much it meant to Ben Whittaker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was a lot of emotions. He went over to Liam Cameron's team and started, I don't know what he was doing, to say, fucking hell, you can't, you know what I mean? And I think one of Cameron's team tried to slap Whittaker's face or something, but hey, it's a spur of the moment thing. Do you know what I mean? There was a lot riding in this fight, and ultimately people were questioning Ben Whittaker on who he really is. And I guess it came to a boiling point, and he let it all out in this fight. And so it kind of meant a lot to him. We knew that was going to be the case, you know what I mean? We knew Ben Whittaker was going to win this fight regardless. But ultimately, he might have won the fight, but I don't think he won the public over, you know what I mean? If you watch the fight, when he did win the fight, the people were just booing him. Boo, boo. People were booing Ben Whittaker. And that's not a good sign, do you know what I mean? It is a good sign. Because look at Floyd, he was hated at one point.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, man. It's just one of them things there, bro. You know what I mean? People are haters. They don't want to see. They don't like seeing people being flashy and cocky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Ben Whittaker is he's one of them guys. He's flashy and he's cocky. You know what I mean? And confident. And people don't like that. So it's one of them ones. But anyways, big up to Whittaker. He's back in action. He's back in the field, shall I say? He's back on top of his game. What's next for him? I want to see a high level fight. I don't want to see these Mickey Mouse fights no more. I want to see you fight someone of a serious caliber. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you're already on a fast track. The guy's got more followers than how much? I think he's got like 2-3 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah, might be more than that now.
Sponsored by high-level fashion luxury brands, Balenciaga, Fendi, Prada. You know what I mean? So listen, you're on a fast track anyway. Why not? Go and do your thing. Go fight someone serious now. I want to see you fight someone serious. But before that, I want to hear your thoughts on this one as well.
Yeah, man, my thoughts are it was a great performance from Ben Whittaker. He did exactly what he was supposed to do in the first fight. I'll talk about Cameron briefly first. I thought that Cameron was struggling to land shots on Ben Whittaker. He looked like he was always trying to lean in to make his shots land. but Whittaker was always in and out. And I think this is part of the problem that Whittaker had in the first fight. The first fight thought, oh, I'm just going to walk straight through him and it will be fine. Found out it wasn't so easy. In this fight, he boxed off the back foot like he normally does. And within 2 rounds, he managed to get the stoppage. That right hand that he launched onto Cameron was the beginning of the end. Great right hand. Literally sent his arm swinging. However, what I would say is a lot of people are saying it was somewhat of a soft stoppage. Although he was hurt, he was down. Like, the referee didn't give him a chance to get up, like give him a standing 8 count or anything like that. He just said, no, that's it. The fight's off. And I think a lot of people are saying, like, yeah, that wasn't a good way to end the fight. So there's that. I heard a lot of people booing Ben Whittaker as well. Like, I have taken note of that. And what I think about that is, in the UK, we're not brash, we're not flashy, we don't like to be that way. We're like more reserved. So if you are that way, you've got to be extremely good. Like people like Prince Nassim Hamid, for example. People hated that in the beginning, but they started to love it because they realized how much of a great fighter he was. And I believe that Ben Whittaker can do the similar thing. It's going to take a while to get over all these fans that are booing you now. But if he continues to perform the way he did in that fight, for let's say another 5 fights, people slowly start to forget about it and put it in the past and say, okay, maybe he didn't quit. Maybe it just happened. Whatever happened, happened. And he had a rematch and he got the job done. Do you know what I mean? So fair play to Ben Whittaker. I do think he boxed pretty well, if I'm being honest. Came out the gate, jab to the head, jab to the body, jab to the head, jab to the body, mixing up the levels all the time. And yeah, good performance from Ben Whittaker. Who do I want to see him fight now? I can't think off the top of my head who I'd like to see him fight. Of course, he's in that 175-pound division. There's a lot of top guys in there. But the problem is where his level is kind of here, not as far as ability, but just where he is here, whereas all the other guys are kind of like here. So there's like a gap in between. He needs to have like 4 or 5 fights in that in-between level, and then boom, you're going up to European level and then onto world level. Because at the moment, I feel like there's some British fighters out there who could probably beat him. But if he gets enough experience, then he should be fine. So anyway, final conclusion, good performance from Ben Whittaker, on to bigger and better things. For Liam Cameron, sad he didn't get the victory that he so desired, but that one bit of drama has really opened up a lot as far as his career goes.
Most definitely, man. And that is the recap done. All right, cool, my people. You are on part 2 of the episode. Now we're going to talk about the Fatal Fury, April 26th. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. Family feud. You know what I mean? This is a big moment for British boxing. This is gonna go down in the history books. Now, you might think, oh, what's he on about? This guy's waffling. What's he talking about? History books. But you have to think about what I'm talking about. We got to talk about the past and the present. So the past, legendary fighters, Chris Eubank Sr., he went up against Nigel Benn twice. Now, decades later, their sons are fighting each other. Tell me that's not a legacy, bruv.
Of course.
Tell me that's not history. Do you know what I mean? This is a family feud.
You're fighting for your family name at the moment.
And right now we've got 1 Eubank. Eubank is up by 1. Is Ben gonna even the scores, or are we gonna get 2 and 0 in the family feud? Only time will tell. But before we get into the main event, let's go back into the undercard. We've got quite a few undercards. We're gonna strictly on this week's episode talk about just the undercard of the Fatal Fury. All right, cool. We've got quite a few. I say we kickstart things off with Chris Smith. He's going up against Brandon Galanton. Records are similar. 20 wins, 2 losses on each person's resume. The only difference is Brandon has got more knockouts than Chris Smith. But hold on a minute. The opponents that Brandon has fought against are not the same level of the opponents that Chris Smith has fought against. So you might look on paper and think, oh, wow, he's got more knockouts. Oh, he must be a better fighter. No, that's not the case. Because if you fight trash cans and you fight absolute nobodies and you knock them out, yeah, your CV is going to look good. But then if you look at Chris Smith's CV, the level of opponents that he's fought against, you're going to say, okay, you know what? You got to give you some credit. And just take a look at his last opponent, Gilberto Zodo Ramirez, one of the most terrifying men in boxing right now. You know what I mean? And he's in a terrifying division, the cruiserweight division. So you gotta give CBS some credit. You know what I mean? All right, cool. Let's get into this fight here. I believe Chris Smith is just a way better boxer than Brandon. He's got better skill sets. He's got a better IQ, better footwork. He is the better package when it comes to boxing. When it comes to banging and brawling, we gotta give it to Brandon. Brandon wants to bring this fight into a brawl. That's where he's gonna dominate. If this fight turns into a brawl, yeah, this is gonna go towards Brandon's favor. Chris Smith needs to just box, be smart and box. Use your boxing abilities, because your boxing abilities are gonna make you win this fight.
Yeah,
you don't want to get into a scrap with Brandon, because if you get into a scrap with Brandon, you are gonna pay the price. Do you know what I mean? And these are big boys. These are cruiserweights. These are heavy. They're heavy guys, you know. Like we say in the heavyweight division. I'm going to use that same reference for the cruiserweight. All it takes is one punch to change the fight outcome. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this fight here. I believe Chris Smith will win this fight on a points-based decision. I want to hear your thoughts on this fight as well.
Well, first of all, I'm going to start with the matchmaking. This was some good matchmaking. They must have looked at their records and say, hey, these two guys have got the same records. That's going to be a good fight. Let's do this one. But yeah, no, a decent fight. I don't know too much about Brandon, but I do know that he's got a decent record. He's the bigger puncher of the two. I would expect CBS to get the win because of his level that he's been fighting at. You know, the guy's had a few world title shots now, a few world title fights. He's been a world champion himself already. And he's been in with much higher level opposition. So I would expect CBS to get the victory, but you never know. This is boxing. Like you said, only takes one punch to change the fight. But CBS is a scrappy type of fighter, leans on you a lot, is very awkward. The way he throws his shots are a bit unorthodox and stuff like that. So be an interesting fight, but I fully expect CBS to get the victory on a points-based decision.
Most definitely, man. All right, cool. Let's quickly and swiftly move on. Who else shall we talk about next? All right, cool. Let's kickstart things off here. Vidal Riley versus Chev Clark. Now, me personally, I think this might be one of the most entertaining fights of the night. On the undercard, shall I say. Why do I say that? Is because these two guys are going to go in for the kill. Do you know what I mean? These two guys are going to throw haymakers. They got a point to prove. The rest of the fights, they're a bit more of a chess match. You know what I mean? Because we've got one guy who's a thinker, one guy who's a banger, and most of the other cards, you know what I mean? The other fights are on the card. But this one here, you got two guys who are raging bulls, and they're going to go straight at it. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? They're going to go head first, and that's what we like to see. It's going to be an early night. You know what I mean? We're going to see an early night in this fight here. Pretty similar records again. Yeah. I think Vidal Riley's got 12 fights, and Chev Clark's got 10. They both got the same knockouts. I think it's 7 knockouts each.
Yep.
Hey, the matchmaking is good on this one again. Yeah. All right, cool. Let's get into the fight breakdown. Vidal Riley, he's got a strong jab, very strong jab. I believe that jab is gonna dictate the pace of this fight. Now, Chev Clark, if he can close the distance and get to Vidal Riley, it's gonna be an early night because Chev Clark is a banger. You know what I mean? And have we seen Vidal Riley get hit with a serious puncher as of yet in his career? I'm trying to think. I don't think I've seen him get hit with a serious shot that's wobbled him. And I think in this fight, we are going to see a serious shot get land. And we're going to see if his jaw is made of steel or if it's made of biscuits. You get me? We're going to see what I want. You feel me? That's a bit of a mad analogy, but you get me. But yeah,
one, though.
yeah, it's a new one, isn't it? But anyways, we're gonna see what one. You get me? That's what I can say. Like I said, Vidal Riley, he just needs to box. Use your boxing skills because you know you're a better boxer than Chef Clark. You know you've got an advantage when it comes to those things there. You know you can beat Chef Clark on a points-based decision. If you want to go for the knockout and be cheeky, that's at your own risk. Because if you want to go for the bangs and get into a brawl, guess what? You better be ready to receive a bang back.
Yeah.
And are you ready and can you handle a serious banger? Because Chef Clark is not a joke. He's got serious power. Do you know what I mean? But anyways, I want to hear your thought. And before I go, I want to give my prediction. Sorry.
Go for it.
I believe Vidal Riley will knock out Chef Clark in this fight. I believe Vidal Riley will knock him out from round 6 to round 8. Anytime between those rounds, he will knock him out. So yeah, stoppage, TKO, KO, however you want to do it. Yeah, that's the way I see it going. I want to hear your thoughts on this fight as well.
Okay, well, yeah, I have to say, I think it's a great fight. I think this is where Vidal Riley is at the level now where he should be fighting some credible names. I think that if I'm being honest and not being horrible to any of the other boxers he's fought, but pretty much the only credible fight he's had is probably Mikhail Lawal. He's a decent fighter, but he's not world level, is he? So this is another test in the right direction for Vidal Riley. For Chef Clark, obviously, he's had one loss on his career record. So for him, it's all about getting his bounce back, getting back into the flow of things, and getting back to the ways of winning. Who do I think is going to win the fight? Like you said, boxer versus brawler. If Vidal just boxes, I'm pretty sure this is going to be my overall prediction, is that Vidal will win on a points-based decision. I think he's just going to box himself to victory because he wants to stay away from that power. However, if he wants to jump in the pocket and start trading, then his percentage of winning goes down, starts going down, because as much as Vidal can also punch, he's also a hard puncher. You never want to risk it brawling with someone else who's also a banger. You normally only do that if you're fighting someone who doesn't have much punch power. Then you can throw with them. So I think, yeah, Vidal Riley for the win, points-based decision victory, I'm going with.
Jeez, points-based decision. I like that. Let's lock it in. All right, let's move on quickly and swiftly to Callum Smith. He is going up against Aaron.
Liam.
Sorry.
All right.
Let's thank you for correcting me. Liam Smith. He is going up against Aaron McKenna. Wow. I didn't expect this fight at this stage of Liam Smith's career. I mean, what's going on? You went from fighting world-level fighters, Canelo's, Chris Eubank Jr., even though he's not a world-level fighter, but it's still a high-level name. You went from fighting high-level names, Jaime Munguia. Now you're fighting Aaron McKenna. What's going on here? What's this? What's this about?
Yeah, doesn't make no sense.
It's too late in your career to be having warm-up fights. It's too late in your career to be having confidence-building fights. It's too late. What are you fighting for? Are you fighting to get a world title, or are you fighting just for a paycheck? What is the aim of your path? What is the aim? If you're fighting for a paycheck, I understand, makes sense. If you're fighting to get a world title shot, it doesn't make any sense.
No, it don't.
Do you know what I mean? It don't make any sense, does it? Anyways, let's get onto the fight. Let's get onto the fight itself. Liam Smith, I believe Liam Smith's got more knockouts than Aaron McKenna's got fights. How about that? Let's start right there. You know what I mean? Let's start right fucking there. He's got more knockouts than Aaron McKenna's got fights. Let's start right there. I believe personally, Liam Smith is too experienced for Aaron McKenna. Aaron McKenna is up and comer. You know what I mean? This is going to be a good test for him. This is going to be a wake-up call. He's going to understand what level lays ahead for Aaron McKenna on his journey to become a potential world champion, or to become a potential just a high-level world fighter. You know what I mean? But yes, this is going to be a good test for Aaron McKenna. Can he pull it off? Of course he can. This is boxing. All it takes is one punch to change the outcome of the fight. But Liam Smith is too experienced. He's been in the ring with the best. Yeah, he might have lost, but he's been in the ring with the best. And Aaron McKenna cannot beat the best that Liam Smith has lost to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that just says a lot on its own. I believe Liam Smith is going to get a stoppage victory. I believe Liam Smith will stop Aaron McKenna. I think in this stage of his career and in this new boxing model, in order for you to get a title shot, you have to put up a very, very good performance.
Yeah.
You get me? If you want to get a title shot, you have to knock out your opponent. You have to put them to sleep, hurt them, or absolute demolish them in the ring for you to get noticed. If you win the fight on a points-based decision, you're not going to get a title shot. You know what I mean? So where I think Liam Smith is in his career right now is towards the end of his career, and he needs to make a bang. He needs to make a statement if he is going to win this. If he wants to get a title shot after this fight, he needs to make a statement. So for that reason, there I'm making a prediction: Liam Smith to knock out Aaron McKenna. I don't know what round it's going to be in, but Aaron McKenna is getting put to sleep in this fight. That's my prediction there. Let's hear your prediction.
Yeah, man. So going back to what you said before, I think this is kind of I don't want to call it a nothing fight, but it's almost a nothing fight for Liam Smith. To me, it doesn't make any sense him having this fight. On the other hand, for Aaron McKenna, it makes perfect sense. You're fighting someone with experience, someone with reasonable power, someone with the good technical ability, someone who's been in and around the top level. So it's a great judgment for him to see where he's really at in his career. If he can pull out the victory against Liam Smith, it'll be a massive statement for his record. However, on the other hand, Liam Smith gets a victory over Aaron McKenna. I don't think anyone's going to go nuts over that. I think they'll just say, okay, the guy was unbeaten, but was also very inexperienced, never fought at the top level. So, okay, good victory, but that's it. On to the next one. But what do I think about the fight in general? I think it's a decent fight. He's not fighting a no-namer. Aaron McKenna's quite known. Like, some people know who he is. He is undefeated. He's got 10 knockouts on his record, so he's not the worst opponent ever. But for Liam Smith and where he is in his career right now, I don't understand why he took this fight. I think maybe he just wanted to take the fight for the money. Because to me, having a fight at that level in the career where you are now is almost positioning yourself to slowly become more of a journeyman than becoming someone who's looking towards winning a world title shot. So we have to wait and see what happens. But I think my prediction's a pretty simple one. I think I'm going to just go with a Liam Smith points-based decision, even though I think most people would expect him to get the stoppage. I think I'm going to go with a points-based decision.
I like that. Let's lock that answer in. All right, cool. Let's move on to the next one. I think this is the co-main event, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It's a fight that nobody's asked for.
Nope.
I didn't ask for this fight. You never asked for this fight. Was there any interest in the public for this fight? No. Why is this fight taking place? Fuck knows. What's the purpose behind this fight? Fuck knows. We don't know. But if you guys don't know what I'm talking about the trilogy. Not the rematch, the trilogy. Fight number 3. And who am I talking about? I'm talking about Anthony Yarde. He is going up against Lyndon Arthur for the 3rd time.
Yeah.
In a pointless fight.
Yeah.
Nobody's asked for this fight. You know what I mean? Nobody has asked for it. It's almost like saying, yeah, I work for Amazon. Yeah, let's just say I work for Amazon. I'm a truck driver, yeah? I'm a delivery driver. You didn't order anything. You didn't place no order on your phone. And I just happened to turn up to your door and say, hello, mate, here's your package. And you're like, what? And you're like, what are you talking about? I didn't order nothing. No, here's your package. Are you sure? Yeah. But I didn't place no order. It's all right, just take it. All right, thank you. I appreciate that. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
We didn't ask for it. They're giving it to us. We're not going to refuse it. We're still going to accept it. That's basically what it is. All right, cool. Let's get into the fight itself. What does Lyndon Arthur have in the tank left? What does Anthony Yarde have in the tank left? Who wants it more? Who's more hungrier? who is closer to get a title shot?
Yeah.
Fuck knows. They're both on the same level in terms of getting that title shot.
Yeah.
In terms of activity, they're both on the same sort of level. So we're gonna see what happens with the outcome of this fight. Let's get into the skill set. Let's break down this fight. All right, cool. I believe Anthony Yarde. This is a make or break fight. No, this is a make or break fight for both of these guys. This fight here is their last opportunity to get a title shot.
I agree with that.
This is the last opportunity for them to get in line for a title shot. Do you know what I mean? Get in line. Like I'm saying, talking about position number 2. Do you know what I mean? So what's going on here? See, even the balloons are coming out, bro. You get me? They know what time it is. So yeah, this is what I believe. I believe that Anthony Yarde is gonna come out like he normally does, stalking his opponent. Lyndon Arthur's gonna come out with his jabs. He's gonna throw jabs to the body. He's gonna throw a couple of shots here and there, but ultimately, Anthony Yarde is gonna wear and tear down Lyndon Arthur slowly but surely. That's how he starts his fight anyway. He's gonna start soft. He's gonna start off slowly, and then towards the mid round, he's gonna tear apart Lyndon Arthur. I don't believe Lyndon Arthur has more in the tank than Anthony Yarde. I believe Anthony Yarde has more in the tank than Lyndon Arthur. And I believe Anthony Yarde wants it more than Lyndon Arthur. Do you know what I mean? That's why I believe this fight is getting made. And I'm hearing rumors that the winner of this fight is most likely going to go fight Callum Smith. Do you know what I mean? And the winner of that fight is most likely going to go fight Benavidez. So you see there's a road ahead to this matchmaking, if that makes sense. So I kind of get why they've made this match. All right, cool. My prediction for this fight is Anthony Yarde is going to win via KO decision. I feel like he's got too much to prove. He's been at the ring long enough. He's hungry. He wants to make a statement, and he wants to let the people know, the fans know. He wants to let the light heavyweight division know. Daddy is back. So, anyways, I want to hear your predictions. Let me know what you think, and let's get it cracking.
Yeah, first I'll just briefly start with the fact that we're even getting this fight. Look, nobody really wanted to see this fight. It's a bit of a dead fight. The styles don't really mix that well to make a good fight. But what I would say is it's only fair. They both had a victory over each other. It's only fair. And I think they looked at where all the other fighters are for Anthony Yarde. This is my personal opinion. And just thought, look, you've already recently had a title shot. So you're probably not going to get another one immediately. Who else is available around that's a decent name, well-known, can sell tickets, and is a decent scrap? And they probably thought, well, we'll pick Lyndon Arthur because you need to have a trilogy. You both got one apiece, and it makes sense. However, from the boxing fans like us, no one wanted to see this fight. But I'm just going to get straight into it because we've already seen it twice. You've obviously got, it's the technical boxer in Lyndon Arthur versus the more boxer puncher in Anthony Yarde. And I think the same thing's going to happen that happened in the second fight. I think Anthony Yarde's going to do exactly as you said. He's going to wear him down. And in the later rounds, he's most probably going to get the stoppage over Lyndon Arthur. That's going to be my prediction for this fight.
Most definitely. I agree with that decision. I agree with your prediction, shall I say, sorry. And let's lock it in. Now, let's quickly and swiftly move on to the main event attraction. This one, we've been waiting for a while.
Yeah.
The first time they were supposed to fight, was it 2022? Or was it 2021?
I think 22.
Whatever year it was.
21, but it was a couple of years ago. I remember that.
Whatever year it is, it don't matter. They were supposed to fight the first time. The fight didn't get made because allegedly Conor Benn was caught taking substances, and he got banned for 2 years, which ultimately the decision at the end was he did not take them, and he basically bust case. And fuck VADA. Yeah, fingers to VADA. Fuck VADA. You know what I mean? Middle fingers up VADA's ass. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, let's quickly and swiftly get back on track. Let's not get sidetracked. Let's not get We need to have some parliamentary procedures, you know what I mean? All right, cool. This is the fight that I've been waiting for. Me and you have both we've both talked about this fight for a long time. Even when there was rumors circling around, when the fight got announced, when there was face-offs, when there was trash talk, we've been talking about this fight for so long. We've been building up this fight, and now it's finally here. April 26th is only a couple of days away. Today is Monday. April 26th is Saturday, I'm pretty sure. Saturday, so we don't have long left. Less than a week. We're going to see this fight. Legacies are on the line. Family names are on the line. This is a family feud. This is the real deal. This is not scripted. Think of this as Holyfield, the real deal Holyfield. This is like that. Do you know what I mean? This is serious. Both guys despise each other. Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., they don't like each other. This is going to be a grudge match. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm like, Salt Bay. You sprinkle salt.
Yeah.
Stir up the pot. I love it. You know what I mean? All throughout the build-up, all throughout the trash talk, we've been entertained. From the egg slap, the legendary egg slap, that's going to be an iconic moment in British boxing. Forget British boxing, worldwide boxing. I don't think I've ever seen a boxer slap an egg on an opponent's face during a face-off. It's never been done.
No.
Chris Eubank Jr. has earned his place on the Guinness World Record books for boxing. No one's ever done that before. You know what I mean? Nobody's ever done that. That's going down in history anyway. All right, cool. Let's talk about this. So before we get into it, let's give you a little history. Their fathers, legendary British fighters Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn, they had a similar rivalry. Parliamentary procedure. When they was shooting the gladiator scene. You fucking want it? You want it? I'm sure everybody remembers these legendary scenes. I'm sure everybody remembers the scenes where Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn was sitting down, and then Tony, what's his fucking name? What's his full name? Tony, man, the legendary Tony, the fighter. What's his name?
Tony.
James Tony. He came on live television. He goes, "Hey man, I whoop both of your asses in the same night." I'm sure we have all seen these legendary clips. They are classic, absolute classic. Don't tell me I forgot the scorecard. What was the scorecard of the senior and the Nigel Benn scorecard? What was it?
I'm not too sure.
Rookie mistake from me. I should have known. Rookie mistake. I need to go have a look. Anyways, it's not a big deal. That's in the past. Let's talk about present tense. So now they got their sons. Now both of their sons ended up becoming boxers. They want to follow their father's footsteps. Are they as good as their fathers? Fuck knows. Will they ever be as good as his fathers? No. But ultimately, they still follow their father's footsteps. And now we are here. Family feud, decades later, now the sons are fighting each other. So this is a big moment for British boxing, point blank, period. Now let's get into the fight as well. Before I got into the fight, I forgot to ask you, what's your thoughts on this fight as a build-up? Is it good for British boxing? What do you think of it when you first heard this fight was getting made? I want to hear your thoughts on that. I forgot to ask you.
Yeah, bit mixed emotions when I first heard it, because you know me, I know my boxing, and I always find it strange if you're trying to get one guy to fight another guy who's like several divisions down from the other guy. So I thought it was a bit strange, but I do understand it because of the father's rivalry and that. But let's be real. If these two guys were not called Chris Eubank and Ben, then this fight would never be happening. It's only because of their names. It's not because of their abilities. So the fight is a good fight. It's a publicity stunt, if you will, something like that. So it's an enjoyable fight to watch for the fans. So I can't complain, if I'm being honest.
Okay, I like that. Let's get into this now. You mentioned a point. You said that one fighter is several weights down. You mentioned this. Now, that's Conor Benn that my friend Darkside is referring to. Conor Benn is a natural 147 fighter, you know what I mean? But this fight is taking place at 160 pounds. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So Conor Benn is moving up 2 weight categories, 2 weight divisions to go and fight Chris Eubank Jr. 147, moving up to 154, and then from 154 moving up to 160. You know what I mean? Well, I think his last fight was at 154 anyway. Conor Benn, if I'm not mistaken, his last fight was at 154. But
Might have been, yeah.
he's a natural 147 fighter. You know what I mean? Anyways, let's quickly and swiftly move on. Let's get back on track. Now, I don't want to hear nobody say, oh, Chris Eubank Jr. is fighting someone that's 2 weight divisions smaller than him or lighter than him. No, fuck off. I don't want to hear nobody say nothing, because ultimately Conor Benn wanted this fight more than Chris Eubank Jr. Right. Conor Benn was the one that was calling out Chris Eubank Jr. So I don't want to hear nobody say, oh, he's fighting someone 2 weight categories below him. No. Conor Benn wanted this fight more than Chris Eubank Jr. So now he's got the fight. I don't want to hear nobody say nothing about weight. Do you know what I mean? Don't try to play the weight card now. Oh, he's 2 weights heavy. No, don't try to play the card now. You wanted the fight, you got the fight. Do you know what I mean? And the 10-pound hydration clause on Chris Eubank Jr. So you wanted the fight, you got the fight. Anyway, let's quickly and swiftly move on. Let's break down the fight. Who's got the more experience? Chris Eubank Jr. Who's got a better resume? Chris Eubank Jr. Who's got more power? Chris Eubank Jr. Who's got better skill set? Chris Eubank Jr. Who's got a better resume? Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. is the better fighter overall. Chris Eubank Jr. is the heavier fighter naturally overall.
Yep.
I mean, just a few months ago, just last year in 2024, towards the end of 2024, there was rumors of Chris Eubank Jr. fighting Canelo Alvarez. And it was very close to getting made.
Yeah, I remember that.
So this is where Chris Eubank Jr. is, and this is where Conor Benn is. Conor Benn's here, Chris Eubank Jr. is here.
Yeah.
And I believe the power is going to be too much for Conor Benn. The skill sets are going to be too much for Conor Benn. It's going to be too much. There's weight categories in boxing. There's weight categories in combat sports for a reason.
Yeah.
Whether it's MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing, wrestling, there's weight categories for a reason. It doesn't make any sense what's happening in this fight. Like you said, if it wasn't for the Eubank name and the Ben name, this fight wouldn't have got made. But enough of me waffling. I'm going to give you a prediction. My prediction is Conor Benn is going to get put to sleep by Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. is going to annihilate Conor Benn in the ring. He's going to start off slow. Then he's going to pick apart Conor Benn. He's going to play with him. He's almost going to toy with him. You know when a cheetah catches a prey in the jungle, and the cheetah always plays with the prey. And you think, oh, he's only playing with him, and the next minute he bites off the head.
Yeah.
This is going to be a similar situation to this. He's going to play with Conor Benn, and then boom. Conor Benn he's got too much emotion going into this fight. Those emotions are going to fuck up with his boxing abilities. He's going to go into this fight head on like a raging bull. And Chris Eubank Jr. is going to pick him apart. Watch. Chris Eubank Jr. is going to put to sleep Conor Benn. That's my prediction for this fight. I'm predicting a KO, TKO, stoppage victory for Chris Eubank Jr. I want to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah, so my thoughts on this long anticipated fight that we're finally getting. Fingers crossed it doesn't change in the next couple of days. But look, you said it perfectly. The only thing that Conor Benn has on his side is age, youth. And I don't think Chris Eubank Jr. has got to that age quite yet where he's starting to really slow down that much for his age. That is going to be a massive advantage to Conor Benn. Look, I don't really see any way Conor Benn can win this fight, if I'm being totally honest. With the exception of knocking out Chris Eubank Jr. cold, I don't see it happening. And I think he's got the power to be able to do that, but will he be able to land a shot? Chris Eubank Jr., I think what's going to trouble Conor Benn more than the power will be the technical ability. Because I don't think that Conor Benn has fought anyone with a technical ability like you know, a Chris Eubank Jr. He's not been with anyone like that, and I think that's what's going to trouble him. So my prediction is, I'm stuck in two minds between whether to go for a full-on points, unanimous points decision, or to go with the late stoppage. But just for the fun of it and for the fun of the event, I'm going to go late stoppage for Chris.
Hey, yes, yes, yes. That's what I'm talking about. Late stoppage. This fight is not going to go the distance. This fight, someone's getting put to sleep. And we're going to find out very shortly on April 26th. Do you know what I mean? But there you have it, my people. Saved by the Bell podcast. Me and my co-host, Dark Side of the Moon. We just gave you a recap of the weekend's events. And we just talked about the up-and-coming weekend. Gave you our predictions. Broke down the fights. Let us know in the comment section if you guys agree. Or if you think we're just two knobheads waffling along. Anyways, that's enough from me and my co-host. We will catch you in the next episode, guys. And if you made it to the end of the video, you know what to do. Like the video, share the video, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel, Saved by the Bell podcast. We don't kiss ass to no one. We don't sugarcoat nothing. We keep it real deal, Evander Holyfield. Anyways, we'll catch you boys on the rebound. Bosh.
Peace.